Hi, this is Christina Folkestad, and you're listening to Astro-Modern Mystic Podcast. Today's episode is going to be in English, so you'll just have to bear with that, Norwegies, if you feel it's difficult, but I know you know Norwegian. The reason today's episode is in English is because we are in the presence of the amazing Shaman Durek. He's an author, he's a healer, he's a spirit leader, and he's just his presence is such an honor to have here today. I've been following him since way before he had anything to do with Norway, and now he is in this kingdom of Norway and spreading the spiritual frequency to all us Norwegians that are stiff and just yeah, there's a mission for you here, and you are so welcomed. And I just want to, as a beginning, take my chance and just apologize on behalf of the Norwegian population for some of how they have treated you. And not that we have to go really deep into some of that, but maybe some of it not. Let's see what's there. But anyways, just welcome, Shaman
All
Durek.
right. Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you for having the kindness to invite me, and to be here is such an honor. And I'm very excited for our conversation.
Me too, me too. Like you have such an interesting background. I took the liberty to check out some of your work the last few days since you said yes, and some of your interviews and like oh, why can't you just share a little bit for those that don't? I actually met a girl yesterday and she didn't know who you were. And she's lived in the States for a few years since moving back to Norway. And yeah, just tell a little bit for those that do not know you.
I mean, there's so much to tell. I mean, where do I start? I start from when I was a kid. At age 5, I started noticing that there were spirits and so forth in my room. And in my family bloodline, which comes from West Africa, from Nigeria, and from Sierra Leone, and also on my mother's side, which comes from West India and also Norway, I had a lot of spirit visitations as a young kid, and it used to scare me to the point where I stopped being afraid of being scared, because this voice came to me and said, if you want to get over your fears, you're going to have to confront these spirits. And so I did. And I started confronting them and started learning a lot about the spirit world. And that started off at age 5. And then as I got to like age 11, I started to really understand that human beings have forgotten a great portion of who they are and the powers that are innately within them. So I made it my focus to really dive deep in understanding the spiritual world, from everything from communicating to spirits, to communicating to nature spirits, to communicating to those who have passed on. And it just became more and more. And then as I got older, I went to school and got into holism and got my degree in health education. Studied psychology, decided to drop out of psychology because I didn't feel like it was evolving enough for where I was energetically and mentally, and also within my emotional intelligence. So I started actually going out in the field and going to places where I could support people. So I started working with battered women. I started working with children with autism and Down syndrome. I started working with the homeless, really trying to understand the part of life where people reject people. Like I was always bullied in school, so I always felt rejected because of being different and unique. And people always saw me as evil or weird because I could see things before they happen, or I could talk to spirits, or I could see things about people, or my teachers, or my guidance counselors. And as time went on, I realized that it's not that I'm special. And I never put myself on a pedestal of being special. It was about me helping my brothers and sisters on earth remember who they are. And if that means to like dismiss this guru energy that I see through my travels, I lived in many countries and I got to speak on many platforms with people like Joe Dispenza and Deepak Chopra, and you name it, the list goes on. I realized that a lot of people in the spiritual world were really caught up in themselves as talking heads and not really in the idea of getting rid of the hierarchy and really making it about us being a family of leaders. And I also did a lot of research in anthropology, sociology, because that's a part of shamanism. And being a shaman, I learned a lot through my family and my elders who were shamans as well. They were also spiritualists. They taught me a great deal about religion and taught me a great deal about our roots and our African wisdoms and teachings. And also my great grandfather, our tip oldest one, should I say? His name was Samuel Helen. He's from Norway, and he was arrested and a long time ago for being a witch. And he was put in the torture prison, and then the king absolved him to be, to release him, and he became a one of Norway's like greatest blacksmiths. And, so there's all this heritage that I have in Norway that goes back to like family members having gifts and being persecuted for it. And then also same in Nolens, which is where my dad's side of the family's from, which were
I
persecuted.
just learned that you had some roots to New Orleans, and I'm like, oh yes, of course, that makes so
Nolens,
much sense.
Nolens,
Islands, boy.
Nolens. Let's get that right, Nolens.
Oh God,
I hear my dad going, Nolens.
oh my God. I just actually
But
learned
yeah,
all
no,
about New
my
Orleans.
grandmother was really close with Marie Laveau, and my grandmother used to have two houses. One house was where she had people come for healings, and my dad was her apprentice. And so, it was a very auspicious time because of racism and people. You had the KKK, you had people like lynching people in all the time. So you didn't want to let people know that you were spiritual. You wanted people to believe that you were following what they wanted, which is to be Christian, and do what they wanted. And so my family had to hide a lot of their spirituality, for within secret communities within Nolens. And that's how it was. So my father, growing up with my dad, it was a bit challenging because my mom left when I was two, never came back, and my father's mothers and sisters and aunts and so forth were the inspirations for me coming into being Shaman Durek, and as well as my sister. And what I found fascinating was that my dad had so much resistance to me being a shaman because he was the apprentice to my great grandmother and my grandmother, and he found that it was so hard to be that because of all of the turmoil he went to. And my dad was in the 20s, so you can imagine what it was like back then. I mean, you see the movie Sinners, that was like the time when my father was around. So, it was very intense, and so he just wanted to protect me. But to make it long story short, I spent my life in dedication working with different holistic doctors and allopathic doctors, speaking on grand stages, writing books. I have a podcast, lecturing on mental health, and doing so much. But what my real love and passion comes from is seeing people come into who they are and how powerful they are, and being able to walk side by side with people who are actually in their heart space and awake and playful and authentic and like don't and live unapologetically and don't live caring about like that other people may not understand you or get you. Like I honestly believe that I live to share my life with disruptors, people who are here to disrupt frequencies and energies that are operating out of fear, lack, limitation, scarcity, worry, doubt, shame, guilt, hate, war,
Leave it
and
out.
everything, that is creating human suffering, human degradation, human suppression. Anything that suppresses people in their sexuality, the color of their skin, the gender, being a woman, their
Bullshit.
choice of who they are, all of it to me is ridiculous. And I will spend all my life doing everything I can to dismantle that, even if it makes people lose their mind and go crazy. It's okay.
Well, then that's their as your words, malfunction in thinking. That's how they just
Yeah,
drive
malfunctioning
into that
thinking.
ego. That's the whole point. That's because you're in contact with something that's super futuristic, if you will. Like this is the future. We understanding this is the evolution, understanding how our thoughts and emotions create our reality, right? That's how
Yeah,
powerful we are. And
yeah,
people question, I understand that people are afraid because we are that powerful. And you can create whatever you will, right? So I understand that for some it's safer to play small, right? But the future is us coming into that full embodiment that this is what we are. We are creators of this reality. We are that meat suit. We can do that. So,
yeah. I mean, I studied, for me, I studied, I'm a theologian. I studied world religion. I lived in different countries where world religion stemmed from. So I lived in Israel. I lived in Muslim countries. I studied the Bible, went to Christian school, became full on reborn again Christian, was a Hare Krishna, read the Bhagavad Gita, the Bhagavad Gita. I've had quite a lengthy life from being a kid to where I am now of learning about people's cultures and religions. And what I found, which was fascinating to me, was when I died at age 29, I died from losing my kidney. I died of a 10.6 potassium. And what you guys call that in Norwegian is column. And when people go on death row, they get like maybe a 6 to 7 injection of potassium. I was at a 10.6, and I when I died, it
how
was
did
a
that happen?
you know I had high blood pressure for many many years, and I was
Well,
going to a
yeah.
lot of war-torn countries and doing my service there. Being in the middle of battlefields, being shot at, I mean, when you're living in Israel during two wars, in Turkey during a coup, being in Palestine and witnessing, people getting blown up in shrapnel and their faces being ripped off, and like, it's kind of interesting because now when I look at it, I remember one time because my sister's a health kinesiologist, and at one time I went back to New York to see my sister, and she was like, "You keep acting like everything's okay, but it's not. I'm going to put you on my table." And she did, and she did all this like muscle testing on me and all this like stuff, and I just started screaming on the top of my lungs because I didn't realize how much of that empathically I was taking in. When you see someone get murdered or killed,
And especially for you, excuse me, but you're a projector. All your centers are completely open. Like you're not
how do you know I'm a projector?
because I've done this reading on you before, right? Remember?
Oh my God.
Astrology and the human design. We're going to get into all that. I'm a
Yes,
projector
that's
too, so we have
so
the
yeah, so what happened was I watched a man get burned alive from ISIS. And that really shifted my mind in a very dark way. Not in a dark way where I became dark, but in an understanding of how much human beings can actually hurt another human being and not have any morals or feelings or anything around it and justify it and make it okay to take away life.
it will
And to
come back.
me,
It will come back to them at a time if they
yeah,
bypass.
yeah. I mean, it's not even a matter of coming back. It's more of a matter of when their spirit sees the truth,
Yeah.
that's when they actually call it back. But the thing is that for me, it really made me aware of how deep someone can go into hate. And so I didn't realize how much that was affecting my health and my body, my blood pressure. And I kept going to doctors and they're like, your blood pressure is really out of control. Your body is like, you have so much stress, you have so much anxiety. And I wasn't really looking at it because I was like in the idea of I have a mission, which now I've completely dismantled. But it's now more just like me living my life and sharing what I love and being there for people and holding space for people's divine intelligence. But at the time, I was like on this mission. And so I kept going to countries that were constantly in like, the worst situations. And then I ended up losing my kidney. And when I died and I went to the other side, which was like, that's a whole story in itself. Um, I had a lot of questions about religion. I had a lot of questions about hell and heaven and all these things. And I got all my answers. And, they told me that God doesn't punish, God doesn't judge, God doesn't do anything that is to harm any human being, and that we're doing it all ourselves. And we're doing it because we have malfunction in thinking. We're doing it because we are not aware that we are not a single cell being. We're a multidimensional being, which means that our consciousness has multiple levels of consciousness, which I thought was phenomenal. And the fact that beings that are in darkness only are in darkness because they choose to be there, because they don't forgive themselves for the things that they did when they saw everything revealed to them. I saw how beautiful heaven was, and I saw how much we make things more than they are on earth, and that people are so dramatic that we don't even need to be that dramatic, because life isn't really like that big of a deal when we actually remove our, what's it called? Our viewpoint on it, because our viewpoint is what decides like how we react to something,
Yeah.
and our perceptions, right? And when we see when I saw the bigger picture, and I saw like how so many of my perceptions were so incorrect because I was basing it on reaction. And they
Mhm.
told me that I had a chance to go back. I said I'm going to spend my life dismantling consciousness in a way where we can get back to what is authentically true to us. So anyway, I don't want to do so much talking. I just wanted to throw that in there, but
That
go
is
ahead.
beautiful. Thank you. And that is my understanding of reality too. I've had my own share of wild experiences. I've had psychosis, what the medical call it, but
Yeah,
that
yeah, yeah.
I've
We
understood.
don't call it that in shamanism, but yeah,
No, it's initiation.
yes, that's
So I kind
correct.
of I don't call myself a shaman, but I do have a lot of abilities and I do
You
have
could, you
I,
could. And I don't think that also people should like, if they feel they're a shaman, then they should call themselves a shaman. I don't agree with these rules of spiritual
I
community
know.
places. I think it's absolutely ridiculous.
I completely agree. I just thought about it now since your name is Shaman. That's just came to me. I don't call myself.
Yeah.
I don't know why I don't call my I'm not that big fan of labels actually either way. Like
It's not even a label. It's an energetic occurrence. A lot of people have names. Your name is not a label. Your name is an energetic occurrence. It's a frequency that emits a certain type of energy.
that
I
is
have friends who are witches. I have friends who are
I
sages.
am
I
a
have
witch though.
friends. Yeah, yeah. See, so that's an energetic occurrence that you feel connected to. So then you're not a shaman. You're more witchy,
Yeah.
right? But it's also understanding that a lot of times people don't want to put that on themselves because they don't want people to judge them or say like, "Well, who are you?"
Yeah.
I am who I am.
I don't give a fuck.
Even Jesus said, in the old language of Aramaic, which not the teachings from the King James version, where everything has been distorted, but from the original teachings, Jesus talked about the idea of us not betraying ourselves, from us seeing ourselves, and what he said was that the divine is not a male, it's female and male and child in one. It's,
Yes.
it's called Allah. Allah was what the original words were in Aramaic.
Plus
And
and the
so,
meanest, and then the Christ child comes from it. Like the divine spark comes from the plus and the meanest, the feminine and the masculine.
yeah, but it's all one. Like it's not, there's
That's
no
the Trinity.
separation, and it's existing in every expression we choose to operate from. So when human beings go into this like judgmental, like, oh, I don't want to put a label on myself. Like there's no rules.
Yeah,
Do whatever makes your heart sing. If that doesn't make someone else's heart sing, that's on them. It has nothing to do with you. That's the whole thing about the Yanta law in
I
Norway.
know it's so stupid. I'm
Like,
half Canadian, by the way. I have to put that out there too.
okay, fantastic.
And
Do you
that's why
speak
I've
French?
always, no, Canadian English. So I've
Canadian
always been
English, got
like,
it.
yeah, speaking English. And I've always been like, oh, but I'm a Leo as well, right? So I have lots of fire and
Ooh, I like that. Yeah.
self-confidence and like, hello, this is
Yeah,
me.
Leo's no joke.
No apologies. I'm a quadruple Leo and you're a quadruple Scorpio, but you also have Capricorn rising and moon. And we're going to talk about that a little
Oh
bit
my
more.
God, you know so
So,
much about me.
well, I got your chart. Of course I do. But yes, this is a lot of amazing information. I wanted to share one thing. I was doing my little rituals. I called in the spirits and the elementals, and as soon as I'm breastfeeding, so forgive if my brain is.
Oh,
I have a
congratulations.
little baby that's 3 months old, so
Oh, congratulations. That's wonderful.
I know
Absolutely wonderful.
he's my fourth child. It's such a blessing, and
That's so beautiful.
he was born at home alone, just me and my husband.
Oh, I love that. That's even more greater. Did you
It-
have a, so you didn't have a doula or anyone, it was just you and your husband?
just me and my
Did
husband.
you do water birth or did you do regular birth?
I did standing in a sling.
Oh, the old way, the old way.
And this
Nice.
boy, he was screaming before his body was born. His head came out and he screamed and then his body released.
Nice. And you like gravity pull.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
it was amazing. But it was
And
my first.
that's
I've done 2 home births with midwives and with water births, and I've done all that. This time was
that's
different. I had to take
amazing.
my full power back and just take full responsibility for this birth because I believe that how we are birthed has will save humanity. If we are birthed and in this hospitalization, everything's medicalized, everything's cut open, and it's just
I
doctors
100%
take
agree.
the baby.
One of my goals in the future is to create a birthing center for women where they can do yoga, get healthy food, have
Oh,
doulas
do
there
it.
where they can do like water birth or they can do the old standing birth, but they have like gardens they can walk through. Like that's one of my dreams because
It's
I feel
such
like
a portal. It's such a
yeah,
portal.
because how you come into this world makes and who touches you first
Yes.
and the kind of energy, it all creates your epigenetics and it really defines a great deal of your blueprint on how you feel about things emotionally.
This
So yeah,
baby, he never cries. He hasn't cried once. He woke up, had a nightmare. That's the one time he cried. He only complains a little bit. He actually cried a little bit yesterday because I was at a meeting downtown and I got into traffic and I was alone with him in the car, but I just went like this with the car. I was pushing the brakes like that and then like the car all the other people were probably gonna, there's this crazy lady, she's pressing the brakes and driving. I don't care
that's
'cause I was walking
wonderful.
my baby. I like he's more important than all you mothers around here. So
Yeah, that's wonderful.
yeah, I don't care anymore. Like I'm so free from all this perspective of what people believe or perceive, or that's their goggles and that's their karma. So
That's their evolution, and I bless people on their evolution. I know a lot of people who are not at a higher evolution and it's okay. It's
yeah.
like be comfortable where you are and when you're ready to move forward, we're here with, tea and blankets and here to help you, support you and love you with no judgment.
Hmm. Preach. That's the amazingness. Okay, I have some really cool stuff that I found for you.
Okay. Okay.
I'm gonna push for the people watching on YouTube. I'm gonna share my screen because
Are there people on YouTube right now?
no, I'm not live, but I'm gonna oh, I probably should have gone live on YouTube, but yeah, okay.
Yeah.
But next time we're gonna meet.
Okay.
We're gonna meet. You
Yeah,
already
of course
said.
we are. I can't wait for you to meet Martha. She's going to love you.
Oh, that's so sweet. Yes. Okay. Do you see my screen?
Okay. Okay. You kind of like, yeah, you're kind of freaking me out, but go ahead.
I'm
In a
freaking
good way, in a good way, in a good way, which
dead.
is a lot to say because a lot of people, a lot of things don't freak me out, but I love this kind of stuff, as you can see. But I see so many things that have such a connection to me.
Ah, yay. Okay, so this is your chart. You've probably seen that. Yeah, I sent that to you before. I think I want to start with like Capricorn because everybody knows, like Scorpio is so, everybody knows a lot about
A
Scorpio.
lot of people don't know about Scorpio. I actually disagree with that
A lot
because
of people in my circle.
a lot of people think they know about Scorpio because they look at it from what they've been told, like Scorpio's
Yeah.
vindictive and Scorpio's this and Scorpio's that. And that's not how I feel at all, you
Tell me
know?
what you feel about Scorpio. I love to hear that, but I just want to say that a lot of my listeners, I have a lot of Scorpio in my field, and that's been on this podcast. So a lot of my listeners know a lot about Scorpio. But please,
So
your
what I
understanding.
feel about Scorpio is that when I was younger and I was more immature and I didn't have emotional intelligence, yes, I could see myself being very vindictive and all the things that I hear about Scorpio. But we go through stages of evolution as a Scorpio, and there is a death and rebirth cycle that happens many times for Scorpios. and they're really intense. And what happens is it makes you more aware of being kind and open and loving and supportive, you
Mhm.
know. And yes, I'm always the type of person who looks for authenticity. I see everyone's stuff very clearly. I listen to people's words and I look at ways that I can help people to feel loved and supported. And I'm all about loyalty. Loyalty is number one with me. If you are a person and you want like someone in your life who is like thick as thieves, like 100%, never will talk behind your back, never will do you wrong, you choose and evolve Scorpio
Uh-huh.
because we are very much about loyalty, honesty, truth. We're not we don't not here to sugarcoat. I'm not here to sugarcoat for anyone. I'm not here to play to your fears. I'm all about lifting and shifting. And I find that my friends, because I have friends that I've been friends with since I was a kid, they all say the same thing, which is, wow, Durek, you know, you're the most loving, nurturing, real person. You don't put expectations on me. You don't talk behind my back. You don't create drama. But if someone is disrespectful or someone lies to me, I will pick up on it immediately. And I have no problem telling people what I think about them. I have no problem letting people know that I think you're unevolved, you lack emotional intelligence, and you have the capability of being a loving person and you have the capability of being kind, but for some reason you've chosen not to do that, and that's not an energy that I choose to move forward with. But I will leave the door open until you make those changes. I'm very real with people and I let them know. And I think for a lot of people, I know the hardest people who have a hard time dealing with that with me is mostly my celebrity friends and my celebrity clients because they live in like, I mean, you can imagine America,
Mhm.
right? In America, like it was just different from Norway. In Norway, you don't talk about yourself, you kind of understate everything and you play like you know, you're not so important and whatever. But in America,
I know, I know.
you know, you're raised to
That's why I'm the
believe,
perfect mix of that. Like, look at me,
yeah,
a little bit,
yeah.
and like, ooh, that's yeah, I love
Yeah,
that.
because you're not respected in America unless you know yourself, unless you believe in yourself, unless you speak about yourself, and unless you have something to offer that shows that you have done something with who you are.
Uh-huh.
And so when you deal with celebrities, it's 100 times more.
Mhm.
They feel they have so much money, they can do and say whatever they want, and then they come across someone like me who tells them exactly what I think and the truth, which they're not used to hearing because they're used to having about a yes people around them. And so it's hard for them sometimes. They have like they're the only people I've noticed in my life who have a hard time where they need to take breaks from me, where they're like, I need a month away from you. And I'm like, that's fine, take your month. You know, like do what you got to do. I'm not here to get upset about it. I'm not here to be like, oh, I can't believe you want to take a month from me. It's because you have a hard time hearing truth. And that's what I represent. I represent truth telling. So that's what I feel about Virgos. I mean, not sorry, Scorpios. I'm talking about Virgo's my wife. This
Yeah,
is my
but that's
perfect match.
interesting that you mentioned Virgo because that's an earth sign, and you also have that moon and that ascendant in the sea goat in Capricorn, and that is also the strongest earth sign. There, it is said that another astrologer that's written many books, he claims that the Capricorn energy, the highest spiritualists, the highest people that have the able to manifest the highest frequencies of the divine into physical manifestation has to have Capricorn in them
Oh
because
wow.
you need
Well,
that.
maybe that's my practical side because I'm very practical.
Yes, and you have a hardness to you, like a very realness, as you call it. That's the stability. You have that hardworking, that's the earth sign. That's that. So there's a duality always in us. There's multi. I love how people usually say, oh, there's two sides. No, there's 20, there's 40, there's facets. There's so many sides to this, right? But we have to Capricorn has the ability to keep it real, keep it simple, keep it logical, keep
That's
it
me.
sensible, keep it earthy, grounded, stable, hardworking, like really real. That's Capricorn. Capricorn is the goat, right? That climbs to the top of the mountain, sees the view. Capricorn is the perfect parent, the perfect worker, the perfect home. Like they have the ability to make everything that they touch perfect because they know how to apply their energy in a way
Yes,
that's
that's
suitable for
correct.
everyone. They know how to make everything like
Yeah, that's how I am.
up. Yeah. So that you have that mix of like you see all these planets over here and it's in the 11th house, which has to do with rebellion. But also circles and friends. And this year for you is going to be interesting because Neptune and Saturn, Neptune, which is the planet of the mystics, the Poseidon, the planet of the ocean, the underworld, and Saturn, which is the planet that you have over here in your seventh house of partnership. So Saturn and and Capricorn are like connected. So you take your partnerships and your wife and all that super seriously, and it's kind of really your chart. So you like
Oh yeah.
yeah. So you have that's like your life mission because Saturn is your planet ruler actually, and that's like the planet of getting married in older age, like being really fulfilled with all this dignity and like you almost worship everything around you and all the partnerships to the degree that you have to like be that's the mission of your life. Like you were saying, like be that stability for them, be that
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean,
And
that's exactly how I am with my wife. Yeah. I mean, she comes home and I massage her feet and the house is clean. I got the kids taken care of. You know, if I have to take kids to school, I take them to school, whatever has to happen, you know, but I'm always there for her. I say when she gets home, I'm like, Henny, how was your day? Do you want to vent? Let's talk to the spirits. Let's find out ways we can go further.
yeah.
I'm
Take that very
100%
seriously.
my wife.
Yeah.
My wife is my everything.
And it's like double up too because it's in Cancer, and Cancer is like that motherly, and Saturn is that fatherly. So it's like mother, father, both into the partnership, like both the masculine and the feminine, and that
Yes.
protective love. And that also conquers everything else you do, like starts in the home with your partner, and then it moves out to every area of your life, that same energy, like try to take care of everyone and
That's right.
that
That's
holiness
right.
and that divinity. And that's
That's
beautiful.
right.
That's beautiful. I have some keywords for you. I
Okay.
will say something about this Capricorn energy as well. Uh, no, sorry, that was about the Aquarian energy, the rebel energy. Okay, we'll go there because you have all these planets in Scorpio 11th house. The the rebel. I was no, sorry, I was actually talking about Neptune and Saturn. But yeah, we can still do the Aquarian story and
You
then
do whatever you want to do. I'm here for you.
yeah, we'll go
You
back to
you
the
have me.
Neptune.
You have me for until 11:30.
Woo, okay, there's time. But yes, okay, so we go to the Aquarian, the rebel, the Aquarius energy because this part of your chart, that's the 11th house, and he was so wise. This is from the Hercules mythology, Greek mythology. He was so wise that he was they call him the Santa Claus in a way, like the water bearer.
Yeah.
But at the same time, he wasn't really a water bearer because it wasn't water, it was wisdom to share with everyone. So
Yes.
he came with this wisdom, and then he was told by some stable owner or something when he was younger that you have to, there was a flood in this stable. And he was told, you need to fix all this. There's a flood, get the horses out. And then the Aquarian, he was too clever to stress. There was no way he could do this on his own. The whole stable was flooded, and it was all the horses and all the whatever animals couldn't like it was horrible. But the clever Aquarian, he went down to town and he got all the townsmen to help him. And that's like the fable of the Aquarius energy. Like you get people with you. It's a pack tribe, like you're doing the tribe thing, like right? It's so
Yes. It's
interesting how you
very
find
important for me to build leaders amongst leaders. That's my whole thing.
yes, and that was a good
No followers, only leaders. Leaders amongst leaders. Don't
I
come to
love that.
me. As I say it in my book, don't ever think that I'm above you. Like it's leaders amongst leaders.
I love that. And that's how it should be. Like we all have different qualities and then
Yes.
we need to that's why I love astrology so much because we have these qualities and when we polish them, we can share them and then we get even greater all of us. Like we can stay in the lower frequencies of all these archetypes and blah, 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 but or we could actually make something really great.
Yes.
Yes, let's do that and see what we're good at and share that. Everyone is needed. So, yes, back to Neptune and Saturn. They're going from your third house of communications and siblings, and there's might have been a lot of stuff with your siblings. I wanted to ask you that too. These sisters you mentioned, are they older than you?
So I have a sister named Angelina who is 1 year older than me. She was like my mom growing up. She took care of me. She
I
made
saw
my
that in the charts
food.
too.
She's the one who stood on a stool and cooked food for me because she was only 1 year older than me when my mom left.
Yeah.
And she's my best friend. I talk to her every day. She's the CEO of my company. She's the one who helped me to, she gave me her kidney when I first lost my kidney. She's the one who's always been there for me. My other sisters are half sisters and they don't like me at all.
Okay.
They never have liked me, and I think it's just because they left with my mom when I was young, and they have a lot of resentment towards the lifestyle that I grew up with my father. And so they've had this internal vindictive aspect of them, and it's unfortunate, and I bless them, and I still love them. I can't have them in my life, unfortunately, because they're not operating from a place of love, kindness, and generosity. And I can't trust that with around the family that I'm married into, and my wife and my kids are my number one. I guard them with my life,
I get it.
and I can't have that kind of shenanigans around my
I get
family.
it. I get it. My family is interesting, some of them as well. Yes, but I could see that there's been some older female influence of protection or guidance and love support for you. That's probably that sister.
Yeah, Angelina, she's my best friend. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I
She's a
don't.
Virgo as well too, like my wife. So they like sometimes the gang up on me, which is fantastic because then I just grow even more. It's
Yeah, well, the Virgos, they have this unique way of like being of service and cleanliness and routine and health and everything needs to be like hygiene and good for all that. Like neediness is kind of like
Yeah,
and
I wish it was like that for my sister and my wife. Like they were like, tidy, but I've never seen a Virgo, and I have a lot of Virgo friends. I've never seen one Virgo who's tidy. They're tidy when they want to be, but I'm more like super tidy. Like I like
yeah.
order, balance,
Yeah,
and
yeah, yeah,
I'm
yeah.
a
Well, that's
minimalist.
Capricorn talking. For me, the both of you are like insane tidy because I'm a Leo and I just like to have fun. So I forget to clean sometimes. But I'm
I
married.
take care of it for my wife. I make sure, like, in between when the housekeeper is not here, I'm the person who's cleaning the house, vacuuming. I love it. It gives me joy.
I
There's
know, I know.
nothing more satisfying for me than cleaning. I love to clean.
Oh my God.
I
And
go to my friends' houses and I'm like, your house is so disorganized. Like, we
I
need
know.
to spend today and
I know.
clean this house.
I need to have a cleaning lady myself because, like, oh my God, I have four kids. So, like, yeah,
Yeah.
luckily I'm married to a Taurus and Earth sign too. So he's more,
I just love the energy of balance where there's a place for everything. And
yeah,
I think I've always been that way since I was a kid. Like I would go to friends' houses and I'd be like, yeah, no.
yeah.
Like this is bad feng shui. We're not doing
Know that that is a blessing that's not for everyone. So appreciate
that.
it's not easy for everyone. But yeah, I grew up with a mom that's like that. Everything's, but she has like, if things aren't in her place, and like, yeah,
It
I'm more,
used to be like that. I calmed down after I died and I was in a wheelchair for 2 years. I had to learn how to become less anal retentive in how I wanted my house to be because my sister came to take care of me and literally she would make a mess and I would have a meltdown because I was like, oh, the towels are not they're not aligned and like the cabinet's not color coordinated and like who did this to my suits? Like my suits are not color coordinated. You mix the grays with the blues and the blues with the reds and like yeah. And then she was like, I don't really care. She's like, you're in a wheelchair. I don't want to hear it. And then I literally had to let go of that. And I just became normal then from after that point.
normal as a Capricorn. You're probably a lot more neat than non-Capricorns, but
This is true. This is true.
but yes, okay. It's so funny when you know this language because you're like Capricorn. I hear that. I hear that. But okay, let's get back to Neptune and Saturn. They're
Okay.
moving from your third house of communication and now in February they're going to have a conjunction. I think the date is the 20th and it's into your fourth house. So now it's even more about home and roots. And it's been like these eclipses have been happening in your ninth and third. So that was like, I heard that the other day that people having them in their ninth and third, that's like moving to a foreign country, getting into a new culture, all that. But now it's shifting. So you're probably, I don't know how long it's been since you moved to Norway, but
A year and a half.
it's been a little while. Yeah. How is your Norwegian?
Jeg lærer å snakke norsk
Lite grann.
lite grande.
You sound like my father now because he's Canadian and he lived in Norway for 2 years and his Norwegian is. Oh, I'm gonna applaud you anyway.
That's kind of you. Thank you, Tusen Talk. No, I'm learning how I have a private coach. I have to, but sometimes it's hard to, I speak other languages and it's a very challenging language. It's very different than any other language I speak.
Yeah.
And so I find it to be a bit off-putting because there's words that you have to say where you have to use your mouth in a way that I don't use when I speak
Yeah.
French or Italian or Hebrew or Turkish. It's a very different way, or even Japanese is seems easier than speaking Norwegian,
Yeah.
So it's very fascinating to me to learn this language, but I definitely will learn it.
It's typical also of Capricorn to know many languages, just be best in everything. Like, yeah. But yes, it is. You have to switch some of the words completely around that doesn't make sense in any other language almost.
But they also mean different things and they sound the same. And then
That
you have different dialects. So, it's like someone saying "veli kushli," "veldig kushli," "vella kushli." I'm like, okay, let's just keep it kushli. Let's keep it kushli.
You'll get there, but it's yeah, it's the Scandics and the Nor it's difficult. I only learned Norwegian when I was 5, 6 years old, but as a child, it's a lot easier. That's just
But I know how to do the basics. Like I know how to order my food and, I can understand when people are talking, most of the time. It depends how fast they talk, but most of the time I do. Especially when I'm around the family and if they say something, then I tell them, they're like, "Oh, wow, you understand us." I'm like, "Yeah."
yeah. Well, if there's been like back to this, if there's been some um things with your siblings, now I'm talking like the last 10, 15 years, for Neptune, which is illusions and fog and like deception, all that stuff. You're
Yeah.
talking about some with your half sisters. If that's been
Yep.
for the last 15 years, that is about to move away from your life in total. Like that era is gone. You can trust in that because now that planet is moving into Aries. So it's going to be in your house of home, and it will call for this to have the highest frequency of Neptune, which is mysticism and dreams and like the positive aspects of Neptune. Call that into your home, into your dream home and your dream, yeah, family and all that.
That's great. Yeah, because we're waiting to get into our home, but we keep coming up upon different complications, but we're getting through them one by one.
There might be some floods, some water issues in the next month, so look out for that.
We're already dealing with that right now.
Seriously. That's interesting. Yes, because Saturn makes everything real. Like, so these if there is any dreams and up until the next month, like get it into manifestation because Saturn makes everything real. Like that's
I
why
love Saturn. I love Saturn. Saturn teaches me so much.
as a Capricorn, you would. Yeah. Go ahead. Did you have something more?
No, like even when I died, I was on my Saturn return. Like I love Saturn.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it is wise to have a good relationship with Saturn.
Yeah, it's better to have a relationship with that which teaches you the most than to be in
Yeah.
resistance to it, I find.
Yeah, they say that day chart and night chart, the maleficence, is that how you say that? Malefics, the two
Yeah.
planets that are known as like maleficence in astrology is Saturn and Mars, but it's for the day chart people, Mars is more of a maleficent, and for the night chart, it's Saturn.
Yeah, I love Saturn and Mars. Those are my favorite. Saturn is amazing because Saturn really like makes me get down to like the bottom of the bottom so I can understand like what's going on. but I think that's also my Scorpio side too, because I have no fear of going into the underworld
Yeah.
and searching as deep as I can.
Yeah. Well, the mythology of Hercules in Saturn is like the he goes to the underworld to Cerberus, the three-headed dog,
Yeah.
and he slays that. He takes one of the heads and he just holds it until he can't breathe, and it pops out more snakes. But and that just shows that there's always more. There's always more, but we just have to embrace all that is, and that will then create um newness, transformation, and like that's how the snake shed its skin. I don't remember the fable completely right now. Some of that just came to me, but yeah, that's the Saturn Capricorn Hercules mythology. And there's always these lessons, and the interesting part about that deep dive too is like that's it's just that like that's what Scorpio medicine is too. The dove, like there's the eagle, and that's what I wanted to say earlier. I was calling on the spirit of the air, and I just saw two eagles right outside here.
Ego's one of my spirit animals.
That is part of the Scorpio. It's the Scorpio on the ground that's like going into the darkest cave and finding the light in there, and then it gets the overview and becomes the eagle, and then it becomes the dove. The dove is just full of love. It's been through all the darkness, it's just transcended all the darkness. So it's the perfect healer, the perfect therapist, the darkness whisperer, the one that's not afraid of any of the human sufferings, that can just hold space for all of it.
Yeah,
So yeah,
I can definitely hold space for all of it. That's for sure.
you have quite the chart there, mister. But I want to share a little bit about Sabian's. Oh, I'm gonna finish. Like we get into all these little
Yeah,
weaving.
we're having a random moment. We're all over the place, but it's fine. I'm okay with it.
I love this weaving. I'm a weaver. That's what I do. I go
I
out.
saw it because you were doing this earlier, and I was like, oh, she's a weaver.
Yeah, I go into here and there and
Yeah, that says she's a weaver witch. Got it.
yeah. Anyways, this the eclipses are going to be in your second and eighth house, so it's going to be your personal finances, making something new, creating something new, and it will suit you. Even I heard that you have this SO facilitator. Like all these things that you're creating are just so beautifully perfectly aligned with like your soul mission. You already know all this. But this will be more focused on the next eclipses. Like it will go you well um on these eclipses, because you know eclipses are like grand new beginnings and grand new endings, so the stars are aligned for you to focus on different ways of earning money. Yeah, and the balance between your finances but also your partners, either business partners but also married partners, and all that will also go you well in the next I think these eclipses last, they come in pairs, they last about 2 years, so the next 2 years that will be the focus of the eclipses, like
Oh,
your
amazing. That's amazing.
yeah. And Uranus. I'm sorry.
Yeah, exactly. You're right, us.
That's the higher wisdom, the higher, that's actually Saturn's father or something, but it's like way out there. So it's a very high frequency. Yes, but it's leaving your fifth house. And that's been like, seen some interviews with you a long time ago, how you like to play with like action figures and all that playful.
No, that's
That
me.
is that is Uranus in the fifth. So that's actually coming to a wrap up a little bit. Not that you're not going to do that anymore, but the energy is going to shift a little bit more into your sixth house, right?
Uh-huh.
The house of Virgo. So it's like it's going to go into work, health, all these sorts of routines. And it can be, Uranus can be a little bit shocking. It can be a little bit, ooh, sudden change, sudden shift in some ways. So it can come as a little bit of a surprise, some of the things about health or work or, yeah, that type of thing. So it's leaving a little bit of that creativity and play and more into seriousness, more into work and stuff like that. Yeah. Yeah, and but on the really, 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 really good side, Jupiter is going into your seventh house of love and relationships. So that's going to be abundance, and Jupiter is all about grandiose, and it's going into your love house into, but it's going to hit Saturn though, so it's going to be serious still, but like serious manifestation, serious expansion, and yeah, even more luck and abundance with your partner, and yeah, that
That's
type of
lovely. She'll
energy.
like to do that.
Yes. So, um, I want to share something called the Sabian symbols. Have you heard of them?
Never.
This was a witch in the 16th century, 17th century, I don't remember, way, way back, that took every single degree of the zodiac and she gave them a name with just came to her. And I just want to share because it's just like a little sentence with some of your degrees. And it's really funny, really interesting. So, your sun, that's like how you exert your willpower. That's your Scorpio sun. It's on 26 degrees. And that degree is called an X ray. Like you see right through people. Isn't that interesting?
That's true. I do. I
Yeah.
do. I do. I
I
do.
know. It's so interesting. I was doing these the other day and I was like, oh my God, it makes so much sense. It's so funny. And then you got the Venus, that's like your love planet. That's called a military band on march.
That's true.
It's like I'm beating to love, and those who hear come close, those who don't get away. It's like that
Yep.
strong and fierce. That's so interesting too. And then your work point, your MC, that is called a woods rich in autumn coloring. Isn't that beautiful?
Oh, I love autumn.
I know, that's so beautiful. And your Mars is called an inventor experimenting. That's your
Yeah,
action
that's
planet.
that's me.
That's your action planet. And your Mercury, your communication, that is deep sea divers.
Yeah, that's me.
So cool. And then your Uranus is humanity seeking to bridge the span of knowledge.
That's true.
It's very cool because Uranus is also bound to that rebel energy, that 11th house, that story I told you about the fable with the stable.
Yep.
That is so cool. And then Neptune is the mystical planet. And this is some where the Capricorn comes into because it's called rocks and things forming therein. So it's like all about manifesting, right? Making all this
Mm.
reality. And then your North Node, that is like your soul purpose, where you're going. Listen to this one, a golden haired goddess of opportunity.
Wow.
Isn't that cool?
That's
And
amazing.
I have a few more. Your moon is an angel carrying a harp.
That's always been my thing. I love angels, like the old pictures of angels singing and doing the harp. I like that.
Oh, yeah, and that's your emotional state. So that's
That
beautiful.
is.
That's moon. And then your ascendant, the Capricorn, a water spirit, the connectedness of all things and how we all are doing one thing. So it's also connected to the rebel and free spirit. I put in a little bit more. It was just called a water spirit. So I went and checked it out. So it's more about how the connectedness, the water spirits, yeah, and how
Yeah,
we're,
the undying spirits. Yeah, I'm very connected to them.
yeah. And then we got your Jupiter, which is the expansion, the abundance. It's called a girl blowing a boogle. And
Yeah.
more of the information there was like, herald your knowledge, proclaim it. Again, the rebel, like blowing the flute to like, hear, come listen for those who have ears to hear. And then the Saturn is called the germ grows into knowledge and life. So that's all the earth, like from the little seed growing, little germ.
Oh, how beautiful. Can you send this to me?
Yeah, of course. I'll send you everything when we,
Can you do one from Martha too? She would love that.
of course. Yes, I would love to do that. It would be such an honor. They're very, very cool. I just
That
love,
is so cool. I've never heard of anything like that. This is so cool, all this stuff you have going on here.
I love it. And I got some more golden vibes for you about your aspects a little bit if you're interested in hearing them.
I'm interested in anything you want to share with me. Go for it.
Okay, so we got your Jupiter that's squared Neptune. This is this picture I found for it, and it's find themselves in a dream world with some rude awakenings at times.
Yeah.
I found that a little bit interesting too with like the media and with people. Yeah, just yeah. And yeah. The next one, the ray of hope, moon sextiling Jupiter, giving a helping hand throughout life. And that was one I would, there's the one with the sister, especially women are always ready to assist in both good and difficult times. Self-exploration in human relationships, higher knowledge and travel really pay off, true sense of altruism and nobility and character. That gives you that.
Yeah, that's true.
And you also have that the charming speaker, how you can communicate ideas and feelings successfully. And your restlessness, you can have some restlessness, but when you put it into purposeful movement, it will just be, you can easy paint a verbal picture how to get your needs met at the same time as well.
That's correct.
I haven't done all of them, but I have a few more. You also have Pluto square Neptune. That allows you to respond to the more positive aspects of the invisible realms. And it will most likely have involvement with mystics or psychic schools. We already know you have some of that. I want to hear about that. Um, yeah. Or should we just go through them and then we'll chat? Yeah.
Yeah, whatever you want to do.
And then we have the femme fatale, Sun conjunct your Venus. That's also an embodiment of peace. You get that complete inner peace and harmony, artistic nature, a very deep romantic, a love of beauty, a poet. This aspect can lead to overly sensual nature if not channeled properly, but you know how to attract wealth and good times.
You know, it's so funny when me and my wife, when we were just starting dating as boyfriend and girlfriend, we used to write poetry to each other and send it to each other back and forth in the
Oh,
old-fashioned way.
oh,
So we built this poetry book of all of our poems that we share with each other.
that's so sweet. I love poetry. Like I heard a really nice about the archetype, like the poet, the warrior, and the what was the third one? The poet, the warrior, and the lover, I think. Those three, like the poets, they just have to you get an idea and just write it down right away. It's like even if you're brushing your teeth, whether just
Yeah, it comes
down
to me immediately. Yeah, I've been writing poetry since I was a little boy. That's the way I used to communicate.
yeah, I love that. I've been writing a little bit, but not much. But I've been reading some and yeah, listening to a lot of podcasts about people that you have to hone your craft in this world. We have to like do something, create something, or it will destroy us, right? I believe that wholeheartedly. If we don't get our creative
Yeah,
energy
we're
out there,
co-creators. We're creators. We're here to create. Absolutely. We're quantum creators, 100%. And everything we create has a rippling effect that exists in multi dimensions. Yeah.
mhm, mhm. Okay. The other one is the Sun trine Saturn, and it's the architect. And I love how you just launched something, I believe, that's called something about the architect. I just saw
The
that.
inner architect. Yes.
Yes. And that's one of them here, the architect. Like you are, this aspect allows you to live up to your commitments and joyfully accept duties and responsibilities, which help you grow and succeed in life. And that's the help from older friends and figures a little bit in your life.
That's lovely.
Yeah. So, and then you have, I already said that one. This is the last one, the stout-hearted man. That's the moon Mars. Make the best of any situation. Inner sense of courage and self-confidence, lucky aspect. And gives you a great deal of sex appeal. So, yep, there's it. There's more, but that's what I had
What's
time
on
to.
the bottom there? On the
Yeah,
very bottom.
I got
Oh,
some.
that's human design. Okay, got it.
We're gonna save some of this till the
You
next
know
one.
so much about me. Wow, I love it.
Yeah. So you have that self-projected authority. That's the human design. The projector, we are sponges, but we are also here as energy workers. That's the gift of the projector. We are here to shift the energy to our cities. I live in the city where, Lily Bendriss.
Yes, of course.
I
She's a good
live in
friend of
the
mine.
city right now where she was on this podcast too. And I live in the city where she was born right now
Oh, amazing.
for some weird
Yeah.
reason. Like I was called here for the last 5 years now, but we're gonna move soon, but we're here. This is just a
Yes.
little town.
I love that.
Yeah, and that's what I mean about like weaving and energy work because we're here for a mission. Like I don't play small. I'm in a little small town, but like people probably talking all sorts of stuff about me, but I'm kind of private, so
It's
I
okay.
know
It's all
how.
right. Let them talk.
Yeah, I really, really, really don't care. I'm here
Let
to.
them talk.
Yeah, I love that. That's what I'm here for.
Yeah. We're not here to people please. We're here to be disruptors.
Yeah. So yeah, okay. I had a friend of mine that wanted to know what are your thoughts about like soul incarnation and the afterlife and reincarnation?
Okay, let's go for each question instead of it being so broad. Like ask the question and then I'll tell you.
Yeah, okay. So let's start with reincarnation and the afterlife.
Which part of the, let's start with, okay, reincarnation in the afterlife,
What happens?
because there's a lot of things in the afterlife. So what do you want to talk about? Reincarnation first?
Yeah.
Okay, so reincarnation works like this. So when you die, you have the freedom to, the first thing that happens is you get to review everything that you did and every person that you affected and how that became a rippling effect throughout time and space. Then you get to decide where you go from there. And some souls will go to the underworld because they have unfinished business. And so they can't forgive themselves or acknowledge love for themselves because they're still holding on to those things. They won't let them go. And those are the reason why you have beings trapped in the underworld. Some souls will go straight to the light. And then they see however they view heaven to be for them, that's exactly how it will look. And the people who they feel the closest to that they feel that they can listen to when they first pass away, those are the ones who usually greet them. And when it comes to incarnation, it depends where you want to incarnate because you have to remember every possibility exists within every possibility. That means that there is an earth that exists that has never seen war. There's an earth that exists that is only living in peace. You could reincarnate back in the 50s if you want to live in the 50s again. You can reincarnate in this time again. You could reincarnate in the future of this time because every time you think about where you are right now in your evolution, there are multi-dimensional aspects of choices that you could have made that also exist in another timeline. So you can access any of those timelines if you choose. And it doesn't even have to be on Earth. You could choose other planets, other galaxies, other dimensions. I mean, it's an
Infinite.
endless, yeah,
Like,
it's infinite. It's
oh,
infinite. But you can only incarnate in the place where you are able to grow and add and how do I
add
say
value.
grow? I don't want to use the word grow. Let me ask the spirits what's a better way. So I'd like to talk to the spirits that support different beings throughout the galaxy to incarnating. Would you call it grow? Um, Not grow. It's more like merging. It's like a merging of knowledge and information into that frequency. So every being that accesses what you call a form of incarnation is merging information. So if you on Earth, let's say, was a person who created a lot of trauma, a lot of chaos, a lot of that, when you leave, you don't get punished for all of that unless you choose to punish yourself for it. It's your choice. But Spirit, God never, Mother, Father, God, they never do that. What they do is, though, when you come back to Earth, it's still your energy. So you still have to own it. And that's what karma is. So it's not like you're being punished as a kid because you went through so much pain and that's the reason why. It's just because there's things that you did in other lifetimes that you didn't clean up. So you need to take responsibility for it and lift it into a higher vibration. So every time you go to a planet or a new species, you merge into that intelligence. And then you have to learn how to adapt to that intelligence. And then you have to learn what you can contribute to that intelligence. That's what I mean by merge. That's why I didn't want to say grow, because it's not really the word that I would best use to describe it.
Yeah. Because like when you are in a physical body, I believe that like you can punish yourself in a sense, and that is hell. But that is like I had to do that in this lifetime. Like that was my dark night of the soul. I had to go through that, and that was what I was
Let's
in.
not call it the dark night of the soul. That's so new age. Let's call it the awakening of returning home to the self.
But yes, there were like lower beings, and I remember like I was in fight and battle, and they were communicating to me telepathically. And at the time, I just something clicked, and I just understood. Send them all the love. Send them all the love. Send them all the love, and then they disappeared. Just
Yeah.
like that. They were
Yeah.
just like, no, they were shrinking a little bit. Like, no, I don't want love. And then they were like, okay, fine, fine, that's
Yeah,
true.
but they're also being called in by you for the purpose of pushing your buttons so that you can recognize how powerful you are. You
Yeah,
see, darkness. If you look in the sky at night, you can't see the stars unless there's darkness. Darkness amplifies the light, and so in this dimension, we have a misassociation of darkness because we operate it in good versus evil. But when you remove duality and you remove the idea of judgment, which is why we're not supposed to judge, and you get into a neutral understanding. It's like I asked this guy the other night at dinner, I said, if you met Hitler as a little boy, knowing all that he's going to do, would you take his life? And he said no. And I said, very good answer. I said, because you have to understand that even though you don't understand why things are happening, there's a bigger reason why things are happening on this planet the way they are. And spirit is very aware of it. It's not like, oh, people look at things and go like, oh, it's getting worse and worse. Well, then that's the reality you're going to keep experiencing. I see it getting better and better because more people are getting triggered, and the more triggers, the more awakenings. And so for me, I look at, the ancient times, like when Atlantis, went through what it went through, so many people woke up and created new systems of thought and intellect than ever before. Whereas before, people were not really progressing in the way that they could when they had conflict with other people who had different viewpoints until they realized that, wait a second, like this is painful, this is uncomfortable, what's happening, all these people are dying, our technology is getting lost. Where do we go from here? And literally rebuilding that structure with the help of the Palladians and the other beings was a necessary component. So it's not like we're in the path of destruction. We are in the path of awakening. But sometimes for us as human beings, and this is the same that goes for people who have money issues or relationship problems or whatever, the places that you don't go inside spiritually, your spirit then has to affect in the physical world of matter because that's the thing you care the most about. So if money is the thing that actually makes you actually want to make a change, then they're going to go after the money. If it's your health, it's your health. If it's relationships, it's relationships. It's all there to bring you back to yourself, to bring you back to the part of you that is wise and powerful and capable and beautiful and creative and sensual and playful and deserving and open and expansive and create and like infinite, right? Because
Everything happens for us, right?
everything.
Everything. And it's so funny because I've been listening to some of your lives where you like talk to the spirits in this frequency. And I've been doing that for quite a while, but the last few days I've been like doing it constantly. And it's lifted me and it's lifted my kids and my husband so much the past few days.
Yes.
We've just been like, woo, vibrating in such this love. And it's
Yes.
amazing. And I get the answers I need right away. It's
Exactly.
all there. I applied for a job once and I went into a deep meditation. I was like, higher self, speak to the higher self of this boss and that coworker and blah, blah, blah. 2 hours later, that boss called me and she's like, hey, you got the job. This person is sick. Can you come in tomorrow? And that was the other person that I talked to the higher self with. I'm like, oh,
And let's open that up a little bit as well too, because that's also very new age. The higher self, right, is another
yeah,
hierarchy. It's a form of
first words. Yeah.
right? So let's just say the part of my being that has moved beyond all the limitations of lack limitation that I have experienced on the physical plane that is existing right now in another dimension, right? Because
Down. You're so good at saying that. And that's what I've been doing a little bit more the last few days, like being super specific with what I'm asking and what energy I'm calling in, right? Because that's the weaving. That's the,
right, because when we start creating these hierarchies, then
yeah,
we start thinking that we're below the higher self. And it doesn't work like that in the spirit world. There are no levels.
yeah,
It's representation of where you are energetically in your consciousness. So I have a being that has achieved everything that I'm going to achieve on this planet that already exists, what you call higher self, which is the part of my being that exists in that dimension. I also have a part of my being that when I wasn't in love before I met Martha and I was going through dysfunctional relationships, I spoke to the part of my being that was in a healthy, loving, transparent, loving relationship. And it told me exactly what I needed to do in order to get to become that very thing that exists. And so I did, and then I became it.
yeah.
So that's how we quantum leap. And we're not supposed to, ascension is the act of ascending the different aspects of our multidimensional aspects to recognize the other multidimensional aspects, to recognize the other multidimensional aspects, and keep going on that journey. It's not like this one thing that happens and then it's done.
No,
It's
no,
a
no.
continuous thing that happens. I've ascended many times since I've been in this body on different levels of my being. And then there's certain levels of my being that have not ascended. So it's when we start creating these hierarchies, like my higher self, God above me, all these things that I've seen people do, it creates the consciousness, the prefrontal lobe, and the part of your mind that sees separation and duality. It creates a stronger narrative of that. So then you start thinking that this is better than you instead of you becoming it.
Yeah. Oh, I see that. That's a nice distinction. Thank you. Because I wanted to talk to you about that hierarchy. But I think like because society is like full of it, right? Full of it.
Oh, for sure.
These and I will say that it's more comfortable with love and possibilities and but they're all equally important as well. Like fear and control and closing down is it's a protection mechanism. So it's not less than love, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah,
Like
like human beings have created an idea of idols. So that's the whole story in the Bible that talks about the story of Moshe, which is the story of Moses, where he said that, he wanted to get God's commandments, and they were easy commandments to follow. They were super easy. There was like 20 of them, but he realized that people couldn't even follow the simple 10. So he broke the 10 and kept 10, and because he saw people always looking for something to worship, right? They needed something to worship because they can never see the value in themselves. And so if you look at some of the old teachings in like ancient language and ancient, like, if you look at the Kabbalah, you look at the old teachings, there's a point where human beings have to start seeing themselves as that which they admire, right? And on our planet, we create a lot of hierarchies. I mean, I have a lot of celebrity friends and they think they're better than other people because they have money and I have to check them. I'm like, no, just because you are a multimillionaire and you are on TV all the time and in movies, you are no different than this person. And then they're like, oh my God, you're so right. Like, because we live in a world where we idolize things above us. We glorify things that have more than us. We idolatrize. We create idolatries based upon what people have achieved and what they have and what they have done, instead of looking at all of us as examples. So we are all demonstrating energy. That's all we're doing. So a celebrity is just demonstrating talent. Another person's demonstrating art. Another person's demonstrating healing. Another person's demonstrating engineering. Another person's demonstrating joy. Another person's demonstrating sadness. Another person's demonstrating war. We are just demonstrators, and we're demonstrating frequencies for people to decide, do I want that frequency? Do I want to be a part of that frequency? And that's what news is. Like when you look at media, all they're doing is demonstrating information to you. And then you get to decide what you do with that information. Everything in energy is information, and it's either you accept it or you don't accept it. Someone can call you a name, doesn't mean you have to accept it. You could just be like, that's interesting that they choose to say that. They're demonstrating what they want to demonstrate. Doesn't mean I have to take it into my body or my mind or my spirit or anything, right? So we're learning how on planet Earth to become self-actualized. Like Buddha said, like you cannot expect to become the Buddhistava if you are not capable of recognizing all aspects of yourself and also to detach from all aspects of yourself. That means that you don't put so much intensity into it. It's like, yes, I made a mistake. Okay, I'm here to grow. I'm grateful for this mistake. Now let me acknowledge the existence of this mistake and the part of my being that created it, and then talk to the part of my being that has evolved beyond that. And then talk to it to see like what knowledge, what wisdom do I need to gain or to take in to be able to not make those mistakes again. You see, there's a process, but there's no hierarchy. God and spirit, and they don't see themselves as a hierarchy above humanity. But we create that on earth because we don't see the value of our existence. We spend our value of our existence through what other people see. And that's the reason why we suffer so much, because our perception and our lack of seeing our value of existence within ourselves, we place it in our families, we place it in our friends, we place it in strangers, we place it in people we're in relationships with, and all of that tarnishes the human soul.
yes. That is Whew, that's it. And that part of us, like where we believe that there's something outside of ourselves. That is so true. Like the seeking will always not fill that void because the void needs to be filled from the inside.
It's okay that you seek. That's what I'm saying. You can seek and be curious. Like curiosity is exactly what created the opening of each planet to be like every time you create curiosity, you create new universes. That's not what I'm saying. It's you actually being aware. Like, okay, let me give you an example. Let's say, for instance, someone feels sad. Okay, when people feel sad, what they do is they try to find a way to get over the sadness. So instead of them interacting with themselves and saying, I acknowledge the part of my being that's sad. What's going on, sweetheart? I'm here for you. They don't interact with themselves. They interact with the world. They're waiting for the world to do something, which is another idol, to fix something inside of them that they don't interact with themselves. Someone comes to me and says, "Oh, Shaman Durek, my third chakra is blocked." I'm like, "How do you know?" They're like, oh, because it feels tight in my stomach. I feel weird energy. I said, but did you ask your third chakra if it's blocked, or did you just assume and make that up because that's what you just choose to assume? Just like if a spirit comes in the room, a woman said to me, "Oh my God, a spirit came in the room. I'm so scared." Why are you scared? Do you even know what's in the room? Have you even talked to the spirit? Maybe it's here to give you a message. Maybe it's a family member. Maybe it is a dark spirit and it needs your help to get to the light. But why are you responding this way? Because human beings always put themselves in this kind of like, I am unworthy and something is greater than me out there. And no, it's not true. And that's where I've come on the planet to disrupt. It's not true.
I love that.
Period. Period.
Oh, that is true. But it's like the paradox. Like I feel like there's so much push and pull. And now I'm
There
talking
is no
about,
push and pull. The push and pull is you. You are the one calling things in, and you are the one who's pushing things out.
I know.
Doing it all. There is no push and pull. That all of that energy that you are talking about is you not believing that you are in the center nucleus of creation. You are the one calling everything in. If a woman calls a dysfunctional relationship into her life, that's because she internally is being dysfunctional to herself on some level. And she's calling this person in to demonstrate for her what she is doing to herself. If a person has money issues and they keep doing everything they can to clear those money issues and it's not clearing, it's because they haven't confronted the part of themselves inside that their being has to actually project into this world onto their money to get them to return home to themselves. Nothing on the outside world is actually has any valid truth. It's all illusion for you to recognize what you're doing internally.
Oh, preach. That's, yeah. Truth be told. Okay, can we do one thing for
That's like you've seen the movie The Matrix and the part where he goes to the Oracle and he talks to the kid and the kid says, it's not the spoon that bends, it's you that bends. This is the shamanic way.
Hututututa, Akala, I don't remember, but yeah. Yes. One, can I ask, can you ask any spirits or not any spirits?
Yeah, you can
Spirits
ask me
that
whatever you
know,
want.
the
You have a
spirits,
lot of questions here. We're not going to have enough time for all of
I
those
know.
questions. So you
I
might
think
want to do
I
another. We're going to have to do another one.
we're gonna meet in April. I'm gonna find a date. We'll find a date and we'll do a live in a studio and we'll have a cameraman and we'll make it even greater.
Perfect.
But I just want to ask if you can ask the spirits that knows, should I move within this year or next year? I'd like to know.
Okay, let's talk to the spirit. I'd like to speak to the spirit that deals with all of her comings and goings, places where she dwells, places where she ends up putting herself energetically on the global energy of the planet. I'd like to speak to the one that handles all of her movements and where she moves, how she moves, and when it's best time to move. Should she move this year or should she move next year? Next year.
Okay. Thank you. Um, yes. Should I move? No, I'm not going to ask that. Okay. I'm scared to like ask questions because
Okay.
I already know the answers, I feel like.
You have a lot of questions here, so maybe we should do another podcast where you can just have a bunch of questions and we can just focus on this. because this one seems like you were giving me like information about myself and stuff, and I want to be here to support people's questions as well. So whatever is best for you and however you want to do it, because I have to leave in like 5 minutes because I have an important meeting that I
Yeah.
have to get to. But let me know what you think because I'm here to support you in whatever way is possible.
Thank you, thank you, thank you so much for your presence and for your stories and for yes, just for your presence in this world. I read your book. I have it somewhere. It's very fascinating and yeah, I'm just beyond grateful and we'll set up the next until the next time with more questions and more live and more astrology and more spiritual
Fantastic.
wisdom. Thank you so much.
It's a pleasure. I love you.
Okay, love you too. Bye.